Hey, greetings all. Snedeker here, and it's a pleasure to be with you on this episode of Mr. Curiosity. I thought I'd take some time to back up a little bit. Here's the deal. Now, in this whole podcast enterprise experiment that I started doing, this isn't fake. I'm kind of curious about a lot of things. I'm the guy who's always asking why, when, how, what. And I thought I'd turn into a podcast. Hopefully, a lot of you folks think the same way or are even interested in some of the things. But here's my point in telling you all this. I want to interview interesting people. I've chosen WNEP personalities, local personalities, politicians, doctors, business owners, community specialists, whatever the heck that means. I've done it all. Rock stars on a national level. We've done a lot on this Mr. Curiosity over the last almost 2 years now. Try to do 2 or 3 of these a month. So here's the deal. It's not all about that. It could be the guy down the street who delivers your papers, if anyone gets papers anymore. The point is, this podcast is about having a conversation with interesting, vibrant, enthusiastic people who embrace life, make a difference, maybe even for the worse, hopefully the better. But you see my point. I want interesting things to discuss. So maybe you know something or someone that is good for this podcast. So let me know. Give me an email at joe.snedeker@wnep.com or joe.snedeker@yahoo.com, and I'll reach out to that person. It could be you. You don't know. For example, today's guest is James Deom, Dr. Deom. And he, I really don't know the guy, never met the guy, but I got these messages sent to me. You got to interview him. He's full of life. He's smart as can be. He's vibrant. He's alive. He treats people with respect and kindness, and he has a way of just interacting with people that makes him an outstanding human being. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm always curious about eye issues, and he's a real eye doctor. And by the way, what is an eye doctor? You hear terms like ophthalmologist, optometrist, obstetrician. I know that's a whole different thing. But the point is, we're going to get into that too. And I had some nice messages here emailed to me about concerns you may have about eye health, so to speak. So we're going to do it all. And I never met this guy. I'm going to meet him with you and go through the arc of his life, his business, what he does, and how it can influence your life. Are you ready to talk to Dr. Deom? I am too. Let's get down to business, baby. Baby, says Mr. Curiosity. Baby.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
Here I am with Big Shot Dr. James Deom. How you feeling, big guy?
Another day in paradise. I know that's overused, but it's how I feel. I love what I do, and I'm very grateful to be here with you.
Are you one of those doctors that are going to make me call you doctor, or could I just say Jimmy baby?
I would respect being called doctor from here on. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Call me Jimmy baby. Jimmy baby is absolutely what I'd like you to be calling me. Hang on for one second. I apologize.
I'm with you, man.
Somebody just turned the lights out on me. Hey, can you turn the lights back on?
See, folks, isn't this the beauty of this? Do you see now? Someone shut the lights off on him as we were recording. So now he's got to go. Did you hear that? Big Shot Doctor. I can't wait to hear how this happened. James, I thought you have your people do all that stuff. What's going on?
I'll tell you what, it's hard to find good help these days. I'm back. I'm good.
Don't you agree? There's the beauty of podcasts. Like, we just keep that 100%. In. We keep it in.
Keep it going. Let's go.
You look good. You got all the eyeballs for those who are going to watch this.
This is very official. I said, what is my best background, Zoom background?
And there it is.
And I had to set it up in the office. So we're here in the office. I'll even do a little bit of
he's doing a little spin and everything.
Look at this. I got the optical back there. We're in the waiting room right here. So, yeah.
Someone suggested I talk to you because they said, we're kind of alike. We're both, a little fun and goofy and in a good way. And I don't even know you. Did we ever meet? I know your brother.
I think I was about 10, and I came in maybe with Boy Scouts or something.
Get out of here. I'm that old.
And, you showed us around the backyard.
I can't believe I'm that old.
Yeah.
You're killing me, brother. You're killing me.
It's true.
Well, anyway, your brother worked at WNEP a long time ago, so that's how I knew him. But I don't know you, and this is all going to be great stuff.
Yeah. No, it's serendipity.
All right. Well, let's begin with so you're born. You plop out of a wonderful woman in Hazleton. What do you want to say? What year, or you don't want to get into?
Yeah,
that?
Born in 1985, the great year 1985, I was born, and I love it, because so many people identify. I'm here with my people in Hazleton, my people. And I swore, like many Northeastern Pennsylvanianites, that I will never come back to this area. No way. I'm bigger. I'm better. I'm going to do wonderful things in a big city, save lives one eye at a time. And I was drawn back by this magnetic force I didn't have any clue existed. And it's been for the best. But my story is I was born in the St. Joseph's Hospital here in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. My mom had 5 children. I'm the baby of 5.
Is that right?
Yep. And I'm 10 years difference from the next one up. So Frank Deom.
Get out of here. 10 years.
10 years difference. So even more to Frank.
So how old were your parents when they had you?
Older. Yeah, older. I was a miracle, Joe. I was a miracle. And that's what I've been told. That's what I believe, and that's the way.
Miracle.
I live. So, yeah,
I mean, it could be the wait. Instead of miracle, it could be the other M word, but we won't. We
that's
won't
right.
say.
That's right. It's a miracle. So 5 kids, baby of 5, and grew up. Mainly my mom and I. My dad passed away when I was 10.
Oh, I did not know that.
My mom and I growing up for most of my childhood. My mom had a little nursery school in the community, so businesswoman in the area, well-known, well-respected, hardworking, put me through Catholic school, went to Bishop Hafey High School, and went on to college.
So your mom or dad, not necessarily in the medical field. Your dad was or wasn't? No.
It was not. No, they weren't. No, my
dad. Your list of credentials, it looks like you are the chosen one.
I mean, collect credentials. That's what I do.
This guy looks
that could be put behind my name. I get them.
I was going to say, it looks like you're like a purebred from a medical prodigy or something. But no, just a regular guy.
Just a regular Hazletonian that has worked really hard and been at the right place at the right time, and also screwed up a good bit. And I think that's that's a testament to you realize what you could lose too, and you work hard to get what you've been blessed with. So
I love how you said the magnetic forces of northeastern central Pennsylvania brought you back. Me too. I mean, when I left here, it seems like there are some people. They leave and they never look back, and others, for unexplainable reasons, there's something that brings you. I was just in Florida for the last few days.
Yeah,
Florida is like paradise, right?
But what are we doing here? I know.
But yet, I'm thinking, no, I'd rather be here.
Yeah, I say to people every single day, people that bitch and moan, pardon my French, people that complain about northeastern Pennsylvania, say every single day, wherever there's people, you're going to have the same problems, wherever there's people. So it doesn't matter where you are, there's going to be people you have the same problem. So it's the only thing you can control is your perception, right? The way you
are exactly right. And not only that, but what you said is wherever you go, where you think this is so great, there are people who are born and raised there trying to get away, saying, I got to get out of here.
Right. Well, anyway.
Whether it's Florida or Hollywood or New York City, there are people there going, oh, I got to get out of here. So I love Northeastern PA. So do you. So when you were in high school, were you like the biology kid getting 100s and everything?
Absolutely not. No, I wasn't.
You really weren't?
I was a little bit of a troublemaker, definitely. I
I love it.
Yeah, I definitely walked the line, Joe. I did. I walked the line. I rebelled. I played sports. I did well. I did well in school. I was, again, very blessed that my mom worked hard, put me through Catholic education, and I appreciated that. And I did well. But no, I wasn't, in the front row answering all the questions and doing extra credit points. I wasn't, to be honest, but I did well.
So being that you went to Bishop Hafey, I imagine your Catholicism was a big dominant force in your life.
Absolutely. My mom's like Mother Teresa. Yeah, absolutely. So she's definitely, the prototypical Catholic mom, Catholic guilt, all that good stuff. Yeah.
I got it too, man. I got it too. Do you look down on us regular public school kids like me?
Not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. No, not at all. I went to public school for elementary school.
Oh, did you?
It would just so happen to be that in our community, there was a brand new elementary school built the year I was going to kindergarten. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Valley Elementary in Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania.
No.
So you're from Mountaintop?
No. I'm a northeastern PA guy, north of Scranton, Carbondale, Simpson.
You're from Carbondale. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, it was a brand new elementary school. So I went there for elementary school. And then when junior high came, I went to Hafey. It was just our family tradition, what we did. So
we have these, I can't avoid the fact that I when you find overlaps in people, you're attracted to them, and you Catholic guy, me Catholic guy, and we're both from these towns. And I have to watch how I say this.
Say it however you want. It's reality. We're from here. We could talk.
No, but I mean, Carbondale now kind of has a reputation. I don't think it's well deserved. Hazleton has a reputation.
Definitely has a reputation.
Yeah, but when you go back to the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, they were totally different places.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether they changed for the better or worse, they changed. But the point is, they had such good-hearted people who had these values from the quote old world. Yeah. My grandparents were from Slovakia, and it was like a Mayberry when I brought up. It was like Mayberry where I grew up in Simpson. It was the church three homes down. I was an altar boy, Cub Scout.
3 bars right next to that, right?
3 bars right next to that. Yeah, and the Cub Scout leader was my best friend's father. I mean, it's not like that anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Hazleton has that way too. I bet you grew up with this rooted greatness.
I mean, again, I will caveat, not that I'm trying to distance myself from Hazleton at all, but it's just the reality. I grew up in Drums.
See, I do this
next to Hazleton. not a big differentiator, but it is. I'm just being honest. So anyway,
I do the same thing. I'm from Simpson, not Carbondale. I do the same
Carbondale.
thing.
I did. Okay, just don't want to be mixed up with that. So. Anyway, but I'm here, and now I'm working hard to change exactly what you're talking about. And absolutely, I mean, we have a huge demographic change, in the area of Hazleton, but I love it.
It's not a bad thing. Why would anyone think it's a bad thing? It's a great thing.
Practically fluent Spanish as a result of it. Lots of people that are coming to this community to build families and futures that are, exactly what your grandparents worked to do. So it's different. Yes. But
it's funny how the brain doesn't like change. You gotta, that's the problem here. Brains do not like change for whatever reason that is.
Yeah.
You have to accept change and embrace change. So you said you got into a little trouble. Do you want to expound on that or no?
Well, I mean,
because I did too.
I mean, just the things that you would expect, and to some extent. I mean, I think, was it me rebelling? Was it, not having my dad around? Was it all sorts of things that I could probably prophesize and theorize about? But I think yes, I did. I got into some trouble. I did, and I think again the good thing about that was that I was able to see after being put through that. And let's say I started out at Muhlenberg College, actually fantastic school.
Okay.
Great college. Went to school there as a biology major, and just didn't take it seriously. Didn't see the opportunity for what it was. My God, this happens all the time. I hear it from patients all the time and friends and so forth. Go to school. What am I doing here? You know, what's my purpose?
Standard issue 18-year-old story, right?
There you go. So did that, you know, and I think, you know, I was just, you know, what hand of God, I don't know, slapped me in the face and put me in a position to grow the hell up. Just the bottom line, grow the hell up. And so I left school. And I went to Wilkes-Barre, of all wonderful places.
I was going to say, wait. So we got to back up. So why did you major in biology? What you just?
I always thought I wanted to do something in the healthcare field. And again, like you said, you know.
Oh, so you weren't a 17 or 18-year-old thinking, I want to get into I want to get.
No,
okay.
Not at all. Not my story. Yeah. It is the story of a lot of eye doctors and morticians alike. You know, because it is somewhat of a unique profession. So a lot of times there's some unique story. There's
but no,
family history. Not my case. So what happened was, again, you know, wake up. All right, good. So I leave school for, you know, a semester. I go to Wilkes-Barre. I get my own place. And I get a job. And the first job I could get, I went to CareerLink, I opened the newspaper, and I wanted to get something in the healthcare field. And I was having my own place. I had to look at my loans. I was like forced to grow up very quickly. And first thing I could find, and this is what it said pre-testing patients and, you know, working up exams. That's all it said. It didn't say what it was. So it actually happened to be America's Best, which is an eyeglass store up in Wilkes-Barre Township Commons. It since got blown over by a tornado. You'll remember the tornado that came through, you recall?
About 6-7 years ago,
Yeah. So that is where my eye doctor career began.
But wait, now I'm confused. You lost me. So when you went to Muhlenberg, you said first, where?
Went to Muhlenberg.
And you did it a semester, a whole year, what?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. So
it didn't work out.
I got credits. I did well.
You transferred though. You transferred.
I was taking a leave. Essentially, I was taking a leave and just stepping back and saying, you know what? Where am I going? What am I doing?
But there's no degree.
No degree. Yeah, exactly. So
I thought you meant you transferred to Wilkes University. Not true.
Not at that point in time.
Oh, okay. I see. So this
is like an interim. This is a wake up moment. This is you know what? This is the reality. Now, you know, you've kind of made some decisions. Here we are.
You have 50, 60 credits from Muhlenberg and you think, I'm not going to graduate. I'm going to take some time off.
Let me take some time. Let me just see what's going on here.
Gotcha.
So again, you
Sorry
hear
about
these
that.
things and you talk to people and you're like, why would you do something like that?
Yeah.
Again, you know, young, dumb, whatever, but I look at it as the hand of God or just, you know, whatever you want to call it, just kind of directing me in the right position, saying, hey, look, you know, this is what it's like when you lose the opportunity that you've been given, you know, that your mom worked so hard for all those years, and, you know, your siblings. So I did. I took some time off. Which didn't amount to much. It was probably only about 6 months, but I got this job that happened to be in an eyeglass store. I walked into the store, and
get out of here.
I met the manager, and he kind of took me under his wings, and he said they needed somebody. I was, you know, eager to do something, and, you know, kind of already felt, you know, maybe some remorse about leaving school and, you know, losing that opportunity, if you will. And that kind of set me on a trajectory. The doctor there took me under their wing. The optician, the person who helps with glasses, took me under their wing, and I fell in love with it. I immediately fell in love with it.
But some 20-something-year-old, no degree yet. What are you doing? Selling frames, cleaning
everything?
urinals?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was answering the phone. I was putting files away. And that was where I started. And it was very humbling, actually. It was very humbling to be, you know, a receptionist. You know, here I am in my own mind, which I was nowhere near there. I'm going to be a neurosurgeon, you know, and I didn't really have that goal, but right. You know, in my own mind, I'm thinking I'm in biology, I'm going to be pre-med, all this kind of stuff. And here I am being a receptionist. So it was
an eye place. This is interesting. What a great story.
It was humbling, but it was the best thing that could have happened because it's what I needed.
Folks, do you see how life takes these paths and U-turns? So were you living in Wilkes-Barre? You have an apartment by yourself?
I had my own place and I had to pay for it. So that's why I got that job.
And you're working full time.
Yeah, I was working full time, and
you have some bio credits, but no degree, no nothing.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
just like, no
I
offense.
said, let me go and get some practical experience in a healthcare field and make sure this is what I really want to do. And that was the first job I could get. So they took me on, they said, let's go. And, I through that 6 months time, I kind of worked up the ranks while I was there, if you will.
Yeah.
I went and actually got a certification to be an optician. I learned kind of the ins and outs of, sort of the front of office type stuff. And then I said, you know what? I don't want to screw around. I want to try and get back into school. So I went to King's, I went to Wilkes. I kind of looked at both, and Wilkes took me. Wilkes was like, yeah, sure. Come on, we'll take you. And it all just kind of worked out. And every time it worked out, Joe, it was like I had to pinch myself, because I was like, I don't know, is this the way it was supposed to go? Is it the right way? But it was always the right next step. And so,
because sometimes after you take a break, there's no ever going. I bet you if you looked at the people who said, I'm going to take a break from college, a high percentage of them never return.
Absolutely.
But you did.
But I did, and I had a totally different perception of it. I didn't screw around. I sat in the front. I asked questions. I came early. I stayed late. I tasted what it was like to not have it. And again, I go back to my mom and my siblings worked hard to get me there. And I didn't realize it. I didn't really realize.
Oh, is that cool? So the program, is it a 6-year program? How does that work? Now you already had the 2 years.
4 years of undergrad and then 4 years of optometry school. So,
but you don't have to start from scratch, correct?
You didn't have to start from scratch. So I actually got accepted into after about a year. I got accepted into a program that sort of guaranteed me a seat at optometry school, because I knew it's what I wanted to do at that point. Right. If I was able to carry a certain GPA through the rest of my degree program there, which, I didn't have any problem doing, because again, I loved it. I loved it. I was having a blast.
Passionate about something. It's like a cheat. Yeah. When you love something, you're passionate about it. It's like cheating. I tell my kids that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to ask you this right now, because I'm an educated man, and I can imagine a lot of folks are with me and maybe not so educated. I don't even comprehend. I think I do on some level, but optometrist, ophthalmologist.
Yeah.
Is there an optician?
There's all these O's.
There's all these things, and I don't even know.
Very confusing.
Help me out. Out.
Yeah. So eye care is a little bit confusing for exactly that reason. And it's always like, well, who do I go to? What do I do? Right. And so when you go into an eyeglass facility, let's call it we call them retail facilities, like a Lens Crafters or a Walmart or a BJ's, whatever, a Costco. Those are going to be places where you're going to be initially dealing with, or really any eyeglass place, initially when you pick out your glasses and they're fit to you, an optician. Okay.
All right. So stop right there. Now, an optician.
Yeah.
Is nothing to do with an optometrist. Optician
is frames, lenses, making sure the frame fits you correctly, the prescription is correct for that frame, so on and so forth. So,
and no offense to these dedicated people, I imagine little to no college educated needed for that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. In the state of Pennsylvania, there isn't any requirement. There are associate degree programs. There's a couple of them throughout the state, and in certain states, New Jersey, New York, which happen to be the closest, it requires an associate's degree. Okay. So it is interesting. Now there is a very robust certification process. I mentioned that I got when I was at, in undergrad. It's called the opticianry certification. So there's education out there, but
a lot of that,
unfortunately, it's not required in the state of Pennsylvania. So,
but that's almost like it's like cosmetic stuff. You're not doing medical.
You're going to get a bunch of cosmetologists throwing darts at your forehead if you start, poo-pooing cosmetology.
No, I don't mean it that way. I mean, it's cosmetic, meaning it's superficial, it's superficial. It's not medical. It's not invasive. So
I'll agree with that on the surface. I think there's a lot of good education that could be done there. But there's a lot on the back end of that, and it has to do with licensing and turf wars and who could do this and who could do that. And so, again, opticians are certainly professionals that help you make sure your prescription is in the correct frame.
Gotcha.
And that it's measured correctly.
But they never dissected eyeballs.
Probably not. No, but
All
they
right.
definitely should have an understanding of eye anatomy, and then physics that has to do with optics. So there is
Gotcha.
some
All right. So
optics.
that's if we want to do it in a tier way, I guess that's kind of the lower
Yeah.
tier. I hope I'm not
Sure,
being
sure. You could
All
do
right.
that. You could do
Next.
that. But
What's
everybody
next?
has their place, right? So
Yeah.
opticianry, glasses, and contacts. I'm a doctor of optometry. Okay. So what does that mean? What I think is the best way to understand doctor of optometry is the primary care provider of your eyes. So you have a problem, you have a cough, you have a sneeze, a sniffle. What do? You don't go to your neurosurgeon. You don't go to your cardiothoracic surgeon. Go to your primary care doctor. Your primary care doctor can really probably take care of 90% of your needs.
Right.
And when there is a need for some additional, specialty consultations, surgical consultation, you go to those individual specialists. Very similar in eye care. So in eye care, the doctor of optometry is the primary eye care provider. So what does that mean? It means on any given day, for instance, today, I saw a 6-month-old that had a blocked tear duct. I saw, the range of ages for simple refractive error, nearsightedness, farsightedness, prescribing glasses and contacts. I saw a handful of people that have traumatic brain injury and visual consequences after it. It's something that I'm particularly interested in.
Okay.
A bunch of patients with glaucoma, macular degeneration. And we see surgical co-management patients that have had LASIK, cataract, and refractive surgeries with our ophthalmology colleagues. So we prescribe drops, we prescribe pills, and we do minor surgical procedures, as allowed by our scope of practice in the state of Pennsylvania.
I love it, but don't be overly humble here because the first tier with you just mentioned, the optician, was it?
Yeah.
In some cases, little to no
Education.
education.
Formal education.
And now for what you're describing yourself as, we're talking a medical degree, 6 years. That's
8
quite
years.
8 years. That's quite a jump.
Absolutely.
And that's what you did.
A lot of extra that's what I've done.
So I'm curious about this. So that's when you're in college. You're doing the same thing as it's pre-med pretty much, right? And then it's a medical degree, whether you're going to be a cardiologist or an ophthalmologist, this same 4 to 5 year program, you guys are all doing together. Correct?
Undergrad. Yep. We're all doing undergrad.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you're applying to optometry school, medical school, dental school, whatever.
Gotcha. So that's it. So now you did your medical 4-year degree at Wilkes.
Undergrad, pre-med. Yep.
Undergrad, pre-med. And then where did you go from there?
It's called the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, or Salus University.
Okay.
There's only 20 or so optometry schools in the country.
Really?
Yeah, there's only a handful. Yeah. So there's only one in Pennsylvania, actually. And it's one of the oldest ones. It was, I think it was 1906 or something. It's been around for a long time. And so yeah, that's where I went. It's called Salus University now because they have an audiology program. They also have physical therapy, occupational therapy. They do some master's degree programs for orientation and mobility, which are people that help folks that are visually impaired get around with walking cane and things of that nature.
So you're in your 20s, you're going in debt. You got your 4-year degree from Wilkes. Now you're going to optometry school.
Yeah. Best time of my life, Joe. It was, what an honor and a privilege,
So for those years, is it just all specific to the eye and the network connected to it? You're dissecting eyeballs.
We do some dissections. We have gross anatomy, just like you would in medical school. So we do all that. We have, so your first year is, general physiology, anatomy, pharmacology.
Yeah.
And then the added part that we get is physics, right? Because there's a lot of optical, components of physics that need.
It's all refraction, baby. It's all refraction.
And I know you know a little bit about that. So. And then, second year, we're doing more of, what we do, in the exam lane. So some of the tests that we do, some of the principles with vision, because vision is a complicated beast. It doesn't just happen in the eye. It actually happens in the brain. So there's this whole idea of perception versus what you see. So we're learning about that. And then, we're getting out there in the world and we're doing rotations. And so I did rotations on an Indian reservation in Montana, which was awesome.
Out of here.
Yeah,
Why?
fantastic.
You just wanted an experience or what?
Well, here's a good quick little story. So my first rotation I wanted to do. So again, I came at optometry school like I did with my second go at undergrad. Worked my butt off, sat in the front, asked questions, came early, stayed late. So I worked hard. I did very well. And when we came time to pick for rotations, I was a little frustrated with the process because we had to pick ping pong balls out of a box. And I'm like, what the, I worked so hard. I should get my choice. I'm top of the class. I did really well. And, but that's not how it worked. So I wanted to go to actually Arizona, to a Indian Health Reservation, Arizona. Again, when you're on an Indian Health Reservation, there's a lot of disparity, a lot of economic issues, and you just learn a lot in those situations, both from a socioeconomic standpoint, life, and a lot of disease there as well. So good opportunity to learn on so many different levels.
So you wanted to help the marginalized, perhaps?
I was really interested in going and experiencing that and learning, trying to help. Right. Anyway, so I lost the lottery. I picked the wrong ping pong ball. So
Montana.
Yeah. Well, no, actually that first one, what happened was the only thing that was left over was, guess what? Hazleton, Pennsylvania. So remember, I said I'd never come back to Hazleton.
What do you mean by left? By chance or by pick?
It was there was a list, and it was like one of the only things left on the list because
meaning the other guys, gals didn't want it. They said,
no, who would want to come here? Nobody. So I'm just kidding. Everybody should come here.
Yes.
But no, it's the reality. So again, going back to Wilkes, I did work at that place, but I also shadowed a couple other independent docs, which was, is where I'm standing right now. A place I shadowed. I was like, that is cool. That is exactly what I want to do. That's how I want to practice. I don't want to do it here, but that's how I want to practice. So anyway, again, that's the magnetic force brought me back, allowed me to practice. Here was my first rotation. Did that. It was great. I loved it. After that, I went to State College, a large group practice out there, really enjoyed that. And I timed that just right. So it was in time with Penn State football. So I'm of course a Penn State football fan, like the rest of us knuckleheads, Northeastern Pennsylvania. And where else did I go? I did one rotation. Were these rotations,
you're not getting paid. You're still.
No, it's just it's like internships.
Yeah, you're still. So at this point, you're going in debt, or am I getting too nosy? You're going in debt?
Yeah, you're paying. It's part of school. Yeah.
You're going in debt. The bills are piling up.
Yeah. When I came out of school, I had around 100, I had, I think 210, 220 in school loans. Yeah.
Jump change. You make that in 4 months.
There you go. Yeah.
But were there any challenging aspects when you were in these these deep medical optic courses? I'm not going to be able to do this. This is beyond me. I can't memorize all of these blood vessels and tendons connecting the eye. Or no, you're like that. I love it. I can do it.
I put the work in. I got the results. I did.
He's taking the high road, folks. You're brilliant. You're brilliant. That's excellent. So when do you graduate from this entire program?
Yeah.
When does that happen?
So I graduated in 2014. And it was, again, 4 years after I started school. I did at the same time a master's in public health course program concurrently at the same school. So I was able to graduate with both my doctorate of optometry and my master's in public health at the same time. During that time, you have a decision. The decision is, do you want to do a residency, a 1-year additional residency, or do you want to go right into practice? So for me, I knew I wanted to go into practice. I was always interested in the business side of what we do too. It's just the reality. There's a business side of everything, of healthcare.
Sure, yeah.
Hospitals, business side of it. So I was always interested in that.
I'm surprised you wanted to merge those two together. It's like they're usually the evil sister and the evil.
Well, anybody that says they're not connected is a bold-faced liar. So
they're connected. Bold-faced liar. Me, yeah. I mean, they're connected. They're not only connected, they're one at times.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Yeah, and that could be a shame, but at the same time, I think if we're realistic about it and open about it, it doesn't need to be that way. But I wanted to join private practice, and so my now partner and then mentor, still my mentor, Dr. Tom Kislin, who started Hazleton Eye Specialists, which I did that rotation in. We flirted throughout that time. And I was this close to going to Vermont. Vermont was another rotation I did. I worked at a VA in Vermont, and I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love running. I love hiking. And I did, a ton of hiking when I was there, cross country skiing, loved it. And
little too cold,
close. But it just wasn't meant to be. We Dr. Kislin and I came up with an agreement. I joined the practice, and then I became a partner about 5 years ago now.
So is that at that point in your life, I imagine it's a very open and quite luxurious field with opportunities. You could have chosen anywhere. You could have said, I'm going to LA.
You could go anywhere.
I'm going to Florida. You probably could have taken that and that seed could have blossomed.
Yeah. I think that the answer to that question is yes, you can go anywhere. However, everybody wants to be in suburban Philadelphia. Everybody wants to be in suburban Orlando.
That's where the money is.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there, but you're just another fish in the sea. You're just another.
Yeah.
There's lots of places. So here, I'm with my people again. I could speak their language. It's and
you're the big fish in the sea.
Well, and you could make that statement. I think, again, it's more like you're cut from the same cloth, and as a result, people respect you more. And so I think there's something to be said for that,
So to complete the loop of the original question, so how does I'm looking at the term here, the ophthalmologist, and I think that's under discretion. Could you give it a nice slow word to say that?
Ophthalmologist. Ophthalmologist.
A lot of people just go ophthalmologist, but ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist.
What is that?
So surgeon.
Okay, so that involves surgery.
Eye surgeon. That's what an ophthalmologist is, an eye surgeon.
Okay.
So they go through undergrad, medical school, usually a 3-year residency in ophthalmology surgery. So usually they're not getting into eyes until after medical school. So in medical school, you have 2 years of didactic work, 2 years of rotation. So they'll do primary care, OBGYN, cardiology,
neurology, right.
Yeah. And if they're lucky, they might get an ophthalmology rotation, but it's rare. Cardiology or ophthalmology residencies are extremely competitive. There's really only a handful, in comparison to the greater scheme of residencies. So very competitive.
Because I would imagine the surgery, the cream rises to the top, and that's where the highest income is too, correct?
I think
he gave me the I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. I think it depends on how hard you work. But I think.
But you were never interested in that.
I think the potential is there. I think that that certainly.
You didn't want to do surgery.
No, you know what? I love the interaction that I have with patients. I think, doctors of optometry are sort of known to have a little bit more time with patients, a little more hand holding and experiential on the ground floor with patients. Not to say that ophthalmology doesn't have that. They do too. But no, I loved what I did, learning this field, and I don't regret it one bit. I love every day. So,
and they love you from what I see.
With our ophthalmology colleagues, we work hand in hand with them. In fact, we have a cataract surgeon that comes in here once a week and a retinal surgeon that comes in here once a week to help us.
They say that a lot of the surgeons have the God complex. You're going to play cool and pretend you don't see that, right?
That's all I have to say.
All right. So this is a great arc of your life. I love it. So you've been there 5-6 years, and you're a partner in the business.
Yep.
And married. I believe your wife, from what I read in your bio, let me see here. She's a big shot neurophysical therapist.
She is a big shot. Yes, she is. Absolutely. Yep. She's one of the only in the area that has what's called neurocertified specialty. She worked on an inpatient rehab, brain injury rehab at Penn until I drug her here kicking and screaming.
Nice. Where's she from?
And so she is from the sprawling metropolis of Williamstown, Pennsylvania, which is right by Tower City, Tremont. Down in the southern part of Schuylkill County.
I love it. I love it. So she climbed up north in the world, and here,
That's
kids,
right.
you have it all now, right? You got
three beautiful children. We have a 4, almost 5-year-old Bryn, son, 3, Franklin is his name, named after my dad. And my son, who's 6 months old, his name is Miles. So we're having a blast, man.
Folks, look at this. This guy who doubted himself back when he was 20, who took a little vacation from school. You see how life takes you in different areas and puts you back on track. He followed just some intuition, some maybe deep desire. Oh, let me go to this eye care facility and I'll start doing log works. You were probably cleaning the bathrooms at the time.
Absolutely.
Now you're Mr. Big Shot. You see what we can all learn from you. I love it. I love it.
It's a blessing every single day.
Well, that was a great arc of your life. I'd like to answer a few questions from viewers, and I have a couple myself.
Good.
Here's the deal.
Yes.
So as you get older, eyeballs weren't meant, you and I are deep science people. So we know that humans and animals are only meant really, the purpose is to live to reproductive age.
Those telomeres, right?
Yes. And then after that, biology says, we don't care about you anymore. Get to reproductive age and then you can die. Who cares?
I love it.
So when you get older, your eyeball is going to change shape because you are pretty much expendable already. But why does it change shape? Why does that happen?
We have no idea. Whoever figures it out will be on their private.
So that's not known, right? That's not known why. Yeah.
Utopia, I think, is what you're referring to. And that is,
Right.
old vision, if you will. And it is really commonly referred to as eye care because it really does. It affects every single person on the face of the planet. I jokingly say with patients, if you're lucky enough to live this long, you get it. So congratulations.
What is that, over 30?
It's where we start the long arm. You do this.
Well,
This right here.
so it's pretty universal, though. It hits when? In your 30s always?
Usually early 40s, early to mid
40s?
40s, early to mid 40s is when it begins. And so, yes, inside the eye is a lens, and that lens is about the same size and shape as an M&M in real life. And it's attached to a muscle by these little tiny fibers called zonules. And so when our brain sees something up close, that muscle flexes, the zonules stretch, and the lens changes shape. And it variably focuses. We have a variable focusing system built into our eye, much like a camera lens.
I know, it's excellent.
It's beautiful. And so what happens is we don't know. Is it the muscle that stops getting, as active? Is it the lens that becomes less flexible? Is it something with the zonules? Is it a mixture of all three? To be honest, there's a ton of theories, some really good ones, but we don't know. And there's no cure for it. That leads into the process of cataract formation, which is where that lens gets cloudy and blurry. And typically we pull that sucker out and put a new one in, and
the whole lens comes out.
Well, not the whole lens, but majority of it, 90% of it. So
isn't that something? And where does the replacement come from? Is that
rusty old plastic that we find on the floor?
Recycling plant? The
old
old 7-Up
recycled.
bottle.
Yes, it's very green. No, it's a advanced piece of technology that help you see far, close.
Okay, so it's not cadavers or pigs or anything like that.
Piece of plastic. It really is. Yeah.
So is there anyone on this planet, there's anomalies for everything, who's going to have perfect vision their whole life into their 70s, 80s, or that's nearly impossible?
Here's the thing, Joe. Again, vision. Think about this for a second. Can you tell me what I'm seeing right now? That's deep.
It's right?
Individual. It's everyone. So deep, right? And that has to do with what I do. It has to do with my level and comfort for blur, what we call blur. Maybe I'm okay with some blur. Maybe I'm not okay with some blur. Maybe I'm digging ditches. Maybe I'm doing neurosurgery. It depends, right?
So you're saying it's very subjective.
Vision is somewhat subjective. Now, the non-subjective part is when we sit you in front of the old Snellen chart and we ask you to read the letters on the chart.
You guys have to update that thing already. Come on.
I know, right? Well, I'm going to invite you to the office. If you have eyeballs, so I'm going to invite you to the office, and we have electronic eye charts that they flip through. It's random, and so it's a little better than that. But you're right; it is very limited.
Yeah, I'm sick of that chart, and I'm also sick of the 3-dimensional fly from elementary school or whatever.
Perception, yes, it's an important thing.
Those tests.
Yeah, so I think it really depends. There's day after day, I'm always flabbergasted. I get an 80-year-old person that comes in, never had an eye exam, and they're seeing very poor, 2100. And they said, well, I just recently stopped seeing well. I'm like, no, you've not been seeing well for quite some time. But again, you have to look at the whole picture. What is this person doing? What is,
You're right. It's a slow fade, but it's also, there's a wine index in terms of, are you a whiner? Could you get by on slight blur?
Because the opposite side of the story is true. I get somebody that comes in, 2020 is perfect. 2025 is just one line less than perfect.
Yeah.
You get somebody that comes in and says they're 2025 and they're blind, and you want to get a actual blind person, because I know many of them, bring them in and say, no, this person is actually blind. They don't even know you're over there. You're not blind. Stop using that word.
Well, speaking of that, legally blind, I always thought since I was a kid, legally blind means you cannot see. It's black, but legally blind means what?
The actual definition for legal blindness means that you are not correctable, means with glasses, contacts, or some other refractive corrective device.
Oh, you're not correctable.
Not correctable beyond 2200. That is the actual legal definition for.
And what's 2200?
It's the big E on the eye chart.
Oh, so the big E,
you
can't make out.
You can't even see it. Yeah, you can't see
so
that.
if you're legally blind, you can see blurred colors.
And Joe, that there's more than just the big E on the eye chart. There's more to it. We have special charts with bigger letters that we hold closer to help, because for folks that are visually impaired, we want to be able to measure that functionality too, and we do, with different charts and with different measures and metrics. So it's just that's just some bureaucrat came up with that dumb definition.
I figured that.
Yes, not a medical or science person at any sense or reason, but that is.
I figured. Well, here's where you're going to hate me. I'm going to tell you all my.
I'm not going to hate you, Joe.
All my beefs here. We got another 10, 15 minutes. Could you give me?
Oh, you're good. You're fine.
All right. Here's my beefs. All right. First of all,
I don't know what you mean by, hey, Siri, we got another one.
Did you hear that? My watch was set up. We're not talking to you, Siri. Go to sleep. All right. So here's my beef.
Yes.
Since I needed corrected, I'm going to throw her away. Since I needed corrected vision when I got into my 30s, call me cheap. I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not cheap. You go to get the eye doctor. Now, this is pre-internet for me.
Okay.
You get the prescription.
Yep.
All right. I was slightly off with distances, so I was a little nearsighted. I'm minus 1.25. That's okay. How do you feel about that, first of all?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that's just a very mild nearsighted prescription. Yeah.
That's me. Yeah. So I can see perfectly
a good place to be, because you have so much flexibility. You could see up close, even though you're, beyond the age of presbyopia.
So you have a gun. You
have flexibility. It's a good prescription. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. But anyway, so I remember in my 30s, and I get the prescription, and then they literally walk you from the doctor's office. And this is where you're going to cut me off and say, okay, Snedeker, I'm not doing this anymore. And then there's this hall of frames.
It's beautiful. Right over here, actually.
Yes. And then I start looking at these frames, which to me, to my ignorance at that time, and maybe even still today, these little pieces of wire.
Yeah.
Basically. And I see a frame, no lens. $300, $400. I'm like, this has got to be a scam. And through the 90s and into the 2000s, you could not get glasses without dropping $500.
It was a hell of a time.
Yeah.
Good time to be alive.
So here comes the internet, and I'm not a big glasses guy. Like you said, I can get by.
Right.
Close, I can see fine. Driving, distance, movies, I squint a little, no big deal.
Right.
But now I start seeing all these pop-up, iBuyDirect.com, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me check them out.
Right.
Now I'm getting frames literally for $25.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, and I tell people, I'm telling you, it was a scam all along. Yeah. Now here's the proof.
Yeah.
So these frames and these glasses that I get, I'm sure the lenses are subpar, but they're fine for me. I mountain bike, I drive, I go to the movies.
Right.
I sometimes buy 3-4 glasses pairs at a time for under $100.
Right.
So tell me what this whole thing is all about. Do you have an opinion on all that?
Well,
was it a scam for a while?
There's a lot that goes into it, naturally. So is the frame itself, worth a certain amount? Well, listen, there's Gucci's and there's Pradas and there's Ray-Bans, and I'm not making money on the fact that they put Gucci on it and it's 5 times more to cost. So
Gotcha.
There's also some branding to that, so there's that component to it that, we're paying more for it. You're paying more for it. So if you want the fancy, whatever style, you can do that if you want. There's also the lens technology, right? And so you might say to yourself, well, lens technology, men's technology, right? Forget that. I'm a minus one and a quarter. I know what that means. I bend the light. I put it on my retina. No big deal. And I think for simple prescriptions like yourself, and in that type of situation, not a problem. Now, here are the opposing sides of that discussion, right? So, when you get a prescription, the optical center of the lens is where your eye lines up with the center of that lens on the frame on your face, right?
Gotcha.
You've heard of something called the pupillary distance.
Pupil distance. I measure my own. I think I'm 5 inches or something, 5.5. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Well, sure. That's
I forget what I mean.
We prefer the metric system in the scientific world.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
But that's fine. And so, that is done, again, if you're only doing a distance prescription, it's not as important if you were having a progressive or a bifocal, or, if you have astigmatism. Those are situations where having that optical center pretty accurate matters. Now, again, if it's
you're not going to get that online.
Well, if it's off a millimeter or two, it may result in headache, eye strain, or what we would call astinopia, which is a great new word for you. It's a medical term for eye strain.
Right back at you, brother.
And so there's been some studies done that look at the quality, look at the impact resistant nature, look at the materials that are being used, what kind of paints, these types of things. And certainly, you're absolutely right. It's subpar materials. So you get what you pay for. But look, I like a good deal. When somebody says to me, hey, I'm going to take my prescription and go elsewhere, or I'm going to get, a couple pairs online, no problem. I have a primary objective. I worked my butt off in school to ensure that your eyes are healthy. That's my primary goal. And I plan to do that from this point moving forward. So you want to get your glasses online? I have no problem with that. We have a selection of frames and lenses that come with, we think really good care, service, quality. If something happens, we'll get you a new one, all that warranties. So, it's up to you. I certainly think, Joe, that this will be a bigger part of eye care moving forward. Anybody that thinks that it's, just going to be the way it always was, like what you described,
right,
is absolutely wrong. It's going to be a bigger part of, eye care moving forward. So
more choices. But you're right too. I think there's a lot of people that name is worth the extra for. My wife, I bought her for Christmas 2 years ago. I forget the name, but it was a purse that she wanted.
Yeah.
For $550 for Christmas. I mean, I hated myself.
You got a bargain.
But it made her happy. To me, I can go to the dollar store and get a purse for $12 and it looks the same to me. So it meant
just
a
like
lot
vision, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? So if you want $5 pairs and that's fine. That's fine. My goal is to make sure you don't have glaucoma. You don't have macular degeneration.
Yes.
The reason why I was late for this was because a guy that lives down the road from here got a piece of wood in his eye, and so got that out of his cornea, and he's got a little abrasion. We put a bandage lens on, gave him some antibiotics. That's what I like to do. I like the business side. I certainly love frames and lenses. When people buy frames and lenses from us, a local place that supports our ability to help the local little league and do things like help the churches in the local area, and we do a lot of that, and that it's a small business support type thing.
Not only that, but they get to hang out with you. I mean, that's worth it right there. You're just a cool guy. I want to get my glasses from you. If you weren't an hour away, I'd be going to you. It's
worth the ride, Joe. I'm going to harass you. I don't know who you normally go to, but I'm sure I know him or her. And I'm sure
I don't go much. I don't go much. You should go once a year. I haven't gone in 3-4 years. Every time I go, my prescription is always the same for 10 years now. Is that unusual?
No, not for a prescription like yours. It's very common.
You
But
think
again, we're looking, it's more than that, right? I mean, do you go to your primary care doctor?
Yes, every year, twice a year.
So why? It's just a checkup, it's
I
to make
neglect
sure
my
you're-
eyes. I hate myself. I am an eye neglector.
You could text me whenever you want to come. I'll get you in. I promise.
Could you tell me what the eyeball looks like inside when you're dissecting these on the cadavers? And did that freak you out? Tell the truth.
No, not at all. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's not, as you see pictures of the eye, inside the eye, and yeah, looking at it in real life is
We're dangling out from horror movies. It's literally just connected by that optic nerve in the back, right? And a couple tendons.
6 eye muscles. And, there's 6 eye muscles that form a cone around the optic nerve. There's fat, there's tendons. Yes. It's pretty well, shoved in there, if you will.
I've heard these stories about it coming out. Could it, that actually does come out?
In very rare cases. Thyroid eye disease is one, where, a thyroid, somebody that has an autoimmune issue with their thyroid. Sometimes those antibodies that attack the thyroid can attack some of the muscles around the eye and engorge them and actually push the eye out, so much so that it's at risk for actually, like you said, coming out, if you will.
So whether it be
term for which is proptosis.
So proptosis with an accident or such, when it's dangling out, I hate to turn into this to a gore session.
Yeah, but
is it still seeing? Could it hang out and like you're seeing straight down?
In some cases, yes. In other cases, no. It would depend on what the situation, was the optic nerve damaged or, what the case. But there are many cases where, a patient will have an eye, leave its socket and go back in at no issue at all. It's very uncommon and no one should worry about that, happening to them, generally speaking. But in
put it on a low list of worries, right?
It's way low on the list. I've seen it once.
And I've been told that old wives' tale. When you look into the eye, you can tell the entire health status of the person. I mean, you can tell a
wives' tale. There's literally hundreds of health conditions that can be seen by looking inside the eye. It's the only place in the body where we could see blood pumping in real time. So, I mean, I spoke to 3 primary care doctors today about health conditions, the things that we found here in the office. One was a stroke in the eye, and the other 2 were new onset diabetes. Patients that came in, had no diagnosis of diabetes, had a primary care doctor, much like you had an eye doctor, Joe. And, had one, went to them, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, some willy-nilly thing. And then they came in and they're like, oh, COVID, I haven't been to a doctor and blah, blah, life has gotten busy and blah, blah, blah. I can't see up close, need you to help me. And I'm like, well, you have diabetes in your eye. We have some bigger fish to fry here. So,
but wouldn't that have been notified through a blood test if that person had gotten a blood test or not necessarily?
100%.
Probably, right.
Absolutely. But, sometimes the impetus to do something is, my arm is hanging off. I need to fix it. Right? Unfortunately, diabetes doesn't make you feel anything until you're having a stroke and you're dead. Right. So it's a sneaky condition, much like glaucoma. Don't feel glaucoma. It's sneaky. It's painless. So the things that happen inside the eye, fortunately, unfortunately, are often unnoticed until they're a real problem.
So you want us to see you or a person like you at least once a year, correct?
It's reasonable, certainly at school age, that's a whole other conversation. We totally forgot. But, obviously vision is very important with learning. Want to make sure kids can see the board, want to make sure they're able to read and understand what they're reading. So children at school age should be getting an eye exam every year. And then, certainly in your 40s and on, we should be talking about an eye exam every year.
And I remember reading ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Everyone worries about their skin. They put the sunscreen on, but a lot of times people don't think about their eyes. Sure, we wear sunglasses, but all that infrared, all that ultraviolet radiation damages what? What is it? Is that what
retina? Your macular degeneration is the number one thing that we're worried about with that. We have a lot of white pasty folks up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Am I right?
You're looking at one.
I'm looking at one of them right here. So light complected, white, even it don't have to be white. Hispanic, Latino happens as well. But certainly, white pasty folks above the age of 65, high risk for macular degeneration. Smoking increases your risk by 20 times, but certainly exposure to UV light we know is another independent risk factor.
So you want us to wear sunglasses all the time as soon as we step outside?
Again, it's just like protecting, just like you said, just like wearing sunscreen. It's the same thing. Yeah.
The problem is, and this is societal, when you put sunglasses on and it's not like a sunglass environment, you seem like a
Sneaky. Shady.
jerk. No, like a jerk. Like, ooh, look at Mr. Hollywood here with his stupid
Are
sunglasses.
you a sunglass guy or no?
I am, but
Me
yet,
too.
but
Yeah, who
yet I
cares?
take them off. Like if I were to see you at the parking lot at the mall, I wouldn't leave them on because I think he's going to think I'm a jerk leaving the sunglasses on. I'm always
Joe.
conscious about sunglasses on.
I might need to sit you down on a couch to talk to you about that one. That's a different conversation.
You don't think that sunglass people are
Everybody
jerks?
should wear their sunglasses outside.
You don't see my point that some sunglass.
I do. I see your point.
The over sunglass people are jerks.
You know what though? I'm one of those people though. I'm just light sensitive. I go outside and I'm uncomfortable with outside. Even right now, it's overcast. I'll put sunglasses on and go home. My eyes are more comfortable.
Okay, perfect example.
Yeah.
It's cloudy out. You're walking around with sunglasses on. I'm going to say, look at that jerk.
I don't know what to tell you.
That's probably my problem. I get
It's your
that.
problem now, not mine. I'm protecting my eyes from macular degeneration.
Yeah, but some people wear sunglasses just to look cool. They're not worried about their eyes.
True. As long as they get them from me, I don't care.
I will admit to this. I wear sunglasses at the beach to look at the ladies. My wife knows that
Oh,
too.
Joe.
All right, here we go.
Like the trust nest here.
These are your friends and fans, I guess. Rebecca says, best eye doctor and nicest guy ever. I don't know if
very
you.
kind. Appreciate
Leanne
it.
says, how do hormone fluctuations affect vision? Is that something?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Is that right? I never knew
Huge.
that. Hormones.
Listen, Joe, one of the biggest things I deal with on a daily basis is ocular surface disease. Say that with me real slow.
Ocular surface
disease. Yes, thank you. Dry eye. And so
another question here. Same thing. Good. What is that?
Yeah, so dry eye is, a inconsistency in the quality or the quantity of our tears, and certainly hormones play a big role there. So certainly, change of life, women going through change of life is going to put us at risk for dry eye. Diabetes, hormone, definitely is an endocrine etiology, thyroid conditions.
So these are all treatable.
Absolutely.
Dry eye. I remember when I first saw the commercial for that, it had to be over 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, what a scam this is. But it's not. It was my ignorance. That's all that was.
It's only a scam if it doesn't affect you,
I know. Rocco says, great doctor. When you talk to him, it's like talking to a family member. These people love you, man. These people love you. I'm going to a specialist Thursday, something with my cornea, and I'm scared, says Mary. Should she be scared? Something with the cornea.
She should cancel that appointment and come see me. No, I'm kidding. No, you shouldn't be scared. I would say, one of the reasons why I love eye care is that very rarely, even though, I love the opportunity to help change the trajectories of people's lives in serious ways. Very rarely is it life and death. So often we're able to create a better quality of life by improving vision, even when it's something, significant, like something going on, like maybe what you're describing here. Contacts, special types of contacts, maybe a minor surgical procedure, maybe, what's going on, what you need. But so often, very few things are not correctable and have such a profound impact on your quality of life. It's one of the reasons why I love what we do. And I think in general, eye care providers, ophthalmology and doctors of optometry alike are very approachable, kind folks.
We know you are.
Well, gee, thanks.
And add that to the list of uncomfortable things that you have to do. I have to go get my prostate checked. I have to go, every year to get various tests. Just put your eyes on the list, right?
Yeah.
You got to get the colonoscopy. You got all these things. Aging sucks.
And it doesn't hurt. This is easy. You come in, you read the letters on the chart. We look at the back of your eye. You're good to go. See you later. And you probably even have insurance that covers it.
Boom. Glaucoma at 48, says Shannon. Is that atypical or what's going on there?
Certainly glaucoma is more common as we age. Absolutely. So
is that inevitable or no?
Not at all.
Oh, good. What is that? Is that genetic? More genetic tendency?
More likely that we believe it's genetic. Yes. Yeah. It we believe is associated with pressure inside the eye, but not always. So it is the reason why we check your eye pressure at the eye doctor. So many of you have nightmares about the air puff test, poof, right? Ever heard about the air puff test?
Poof.
Poof.
Yeah, I've had it done.
You jump and you're like,
Yeah, I've had that done.
to
I've
me?"
had that done.
There's lots of different ways to test that, but essentially what it's doing is measuring the pressure or the fluid inside your eye. And it's been shown that, if the optic nerve in the back of your eye is larger than normal and the pressure is higher than normal, that if we lower the pressure, it decreases the likelihood that that optic nerve continues to increase. The reason why that matters is because when your optic nerve gets larger, it takes away your side vision slowly. And as a human, we don't really pay attention to our side vision. We pay attention to our central vision. And so we can lose side vision without really noticing it.
So if I lose some on my peripheral, you're saying I'm not even going to care about it.
You're a sharp guy, but you wouldn't know that, Joe.
But that's a sign of something. And you're saying
glaucoma. But the only way to know that would be to have somebody look at your optic nerve, test your eye pressure. And if we see some risk factors there, then we do what's called a visual field test to really accurately assess your side vision. So to answer her question, it is not out of the question at all. And kudos to you for going to your eye doctor and following up appropriately.
Yes. Now, is that connected to, you see these older citizens, senior citizens, and they have these big wraparound, weird looking, what's with that?
Cataract glasses.
Is that what they are? What are they
got
doing
them free from their cataract surgeon after cataract surgery, and they're just rocking them.
It's become a joke now, right? Is that the only choice they have, or why do they do it?
Oh, no. I mean, after cataract surgery, your eyes are light sensitive.
So they have these big wraparound goggles.
So you just have those. Yeah, they're free. They give them to them. And certainly, it's they just rock them, So it's just
before we end this, I'm going to get my frames. I'm going to show you them and tell you, what do you think? All right, here we go. These are my.
I can only imagine.
This is why I think you look like a jerk when you wear glasses. So online, I bought these prescription distance sunglasses. My wife said, "Joe, take them off. You look like a jerk."
What do you want to say about these? I think we could have done much better. That's all I know. You obviously didn't pick them out. They're much too wide for you.
They are?
Oh, heck yeah.
These are too wide for me.
100%.
Gosh, they're prescription. These are my regular sunglasses. Do I look like a jerk? See, now if you saw me like this, you'd be like, what a jerk.
Yeah, you look like you're about to hold up a 7-Eleven, right?
That's why I'm sunglass conscious. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I feel like
I will get you a pair of sunglasses, Joe. We'll take care of you. Prescription. Polarized. The most important thing with sunglasses is polarized lenses. There's a net. Are they polarized?
They're SunCloud. They're polarized. Yeah.
Okay.
I buy Smith and SunCloud professional glasses for cycling.
I'm a biker too. I don't know if you know that.
It says here you're a biker, a triathlete.
I've dabbled. Yes.
A runner. It's based on your bio. These things. Based on your bio, you are a god.
Everybody that knows me knows that's not true. But I've been very blessed, and here I am.
I love it. Well, I really appreciate your time. If you want, just before we end, you have a interesting podcast yourself. Do you want to pump that thing out?
I do. It's really not for the general public, but you can listen to it if you want. Okay. It's called Try Not to Blink. It's really for eye care providers. I have a lot of fun with it, but most importantly, you can come and see me, in Hazleton at Hazleton Eye Specialists. We're on the Airport Beltway. We're in Tannersville. In Tannersville Commons, right off Route 611, right by the crossings. And we just opened an office in Pottsville to service all the wonderful people in Schuylkill County, Pottsville Eye Specialists. So look us up on the internet.
It's eye care specialists.
Hazleton Eye Specialists.
How many locations? 3, 4, 5.
Hazleton Eye Specialists, Stroudsburg Eye Specialists, and Pottsville Eye Specialists. And we have 3 locations, 6 doctors. Everybody here, gives their all every single day to help people see better. It's lots of fun.
But if they want to see you and only you're only at one location, correct?
No, I'm at all 3. I go to all 3.
Get out of here! You're bouncing around.
I do.
You by name. When my wife next takes me to Tannersville outlets, which I hate, she'll say we're going for a day shopping.
We'll get you in.
Then I'm going to go and I'm going to say, honey, you can shop for a while. Yeah. I'm going to see my broski.
We'll get
And
you
that's
right
what-
in, Joe.
I love it.
Promise.
All right. Dr. Deom, thanks so much for your time. You are a great American and an inspiration and just a good dude.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for doing this. Peace.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity. About